The next morning, Do-hyun did not want to leave his room. He lay on the narrow bed and stared at the metal ceiling. He thought about all the choices in his life that had led him to this moment. He thought about becoming a translator instead of something safe, like an accountant. He thought about accepting the job with the United Earth Council. He thought about stepping into that truth circle. He thought about Commander Vela's face when he said those words. A knock on his door made him jump. Do-hyun, Taiho's voice came through. Ambassador Yuna wants to see you. He got up slowly. He washed his face. He put on clean clothes. He looked at himself in the small mirror on the wall. He looked tired and worried. That seemed right, when he stepped into the common room. Yuna was waiting with a cup of something hot. She did not look angry. She looked thoughtful, which was somehow worse. Sit down, she said. Do-hyun sat. Yuna took a long drink from her cup. I spoke with the Volanthi cultural advisor this morning. I wanted to understand exactly what happened last night. I am so sorry, Do-hyun said. I could not control what I said. The field. Yuna raised her hand. I know. The truth field takes away our filters. It makes us say what we are truly thinking. She paused. Which means that you were truly thinking about the commander removing her armor. Do-hyun's face burned. I did not mean to. She is beautiful, yes, but I would never. Do-hyun. Yuna's voice was gentle. I am not angry with you. Thoughts are not actions. You cannot control what your mind thinks. The problem is that among the Volanthi, speaking such thoughts has meaning. The marriage challenge, Do-hyun said quietly. Yes and no. Yuna set down her cup. The cultural advisor explained it to me. When a Volanthi asks another to remove their armor, it can mean two things. If spoken in anger, it is a challenge to combat. The one who loses the fight removes their armor in shame. And if it is not spoken in anger, Yuna looked at him steadily. Then it is a declaration of desire. A statement that you wish to see them without their defenses, without their barriers. It is the beginning of a courtship. Do-hyun put his head in his hands. So I accidentally started courting the commander of a warship. Yes, and here is the complicated part. Yuna leaned forward. She cannot ignore it. Among her people, such declarations must be answered. She must either accept the courtship, reject it formally, or challenge you to combat. Combat? Do-hyun looked up. She would kill me in seconds. That is why the cultural advisor believes she will not choose combat. You are obviously not a warrior. Killing you would bring no honor. Yuna paused. But she also cannot simply reject you. The truth field proved your words were sincere. Among the Volanthi, sincerity has great value. To reject honest desire is considered shameful. Do-hyun stared at her. So, what will she do? I do not know. That is why I wanted to warn you. Yuna stood up. Be careful today. She may wish to speak with you. If she does, be respectful. Be honest. Do not make things worse. Do-hyun nodded slowly. I will try. But trying was easier said than done. He spent the morning in his room, studying Volanthi vocabulary. He tried to focus on the words, but his mind kept wandering. He kept seeing Vela's face. The way her eyes had widened. The way her skin had changed color. Had she been angry? Embarrassed? Something else? He could not tell. He did not understand her people well enough. Around midday, there was another knock on his door. This time, it was not Taiho. A Volanthi warrior stood in the doorway. He was tall and broad, with deep blue skin and yellow eyes. His armor was silver, marking him as an officer of some kind. Human translator, he said. His voice was flat. The commander wishes to speak with you. Do-hyun's heart stopped. Now? Now. There was no room for argument. Do-hyun followed the warrior through the ship's corridors. The metal walls seemed to close in around him. Other Volanti they passed looked at him strangely, some with curiosity, some with something that looked like pity. That was not a good sign. They arrived at a large door marked with silver symbols. The warrior pressed his hand against a panel, and the door slid open. Inside was a room unlike any Doyun had seen on the ship. It was warmer, softer. There were actual colors here, deep reds and golds on the walls. There were seats that looked comfortable. There was a window showing the stars outside, and there was Veladad. She stood by the window, her back to him. Her armor caught the starlight and gleamed. Her white hair was loose today, falling past her shoulders. She did not turn when he entered. The door closed behind him. He was alone with her. "Come closer," she said. Doyun walked forward until he was a few feet behind her. He could see her reflection in the window glass. Her face was calm, but her golden eyes were intense. "You made things very complicated for me," she said. "I know. I am sorry." She turned to face him. This close, she was even more intimidating, even more beautiful. He forced himself to meet her eyes. "Among my people, the truth is sacred," she said. "When we enter the truth circle, we show our real selves. There is no shame in what is revealed, because truth cannot be controlled. It simply is." Dohyun nodded slowly. "I understand. Do you?" She stepped closer. "You spoke desire for me. Not just physical desire, but the wish to see me without my armor. Among my people, armor is more than protection. It is identity, status, the face we show the world. To ask someone to remove it is to ask for total vulnerability, total trust." "I did not know that," Doyun said quietly. "I only knew that He stopped. What could he say? That he found her beautiful? That he had been fascinated by her since the first moment he saw her? That he had tried not to think about her and failed? Vala watched him struggle with his words. Something in her expression shifted. "You only knew what?" she asked. The truth field was not active now. He could lie. He could make an excuse. He could say it was a mistake. But something about her eyes made him want to be honest. "I only knew that I wanted to understand you," he said. "Not as a commander. Not as a symbol of your people. Just as you." Vila was silent for a long moment. Then she did something unexpected. She laughed. It was not a cruel laugh. It was soft and surprised, like she had not expected to make that sound. "You are a strange creature," she said. "Small and soft and weak by our standards. Yet you speak to me with no fear." "I am afraid," Doyen admitted. "Very afraid. But I have learned that fear does not help anyone." Vila nodded slowly. "That is wisdom. Unexpected wisdom from a human." She walked past him and sat down on one of the comfortable seats. She gestured for him to sit across from her. He did, feeling very small in the oversized Volanti furniture. "I have a problem," she said. "You spoke words of courtship to me in the truth circle. I cannot ignore this. My crew knows what happened. My officers know. By now, half the ship probably knows. I have caused you great trouble," Dohyun said. "If there is any way I can fix this, there are only 3 paths," Vela interrupted. "Combat, rejection, or acceptance." She studied him. "Combat is out of the question. You would die, and your death would bring me no honor. It would make me look petty and cruel. Thank you for not killing me." She made that almost laugh sound again. "Do not thank me yet. Rejection is also difficult." You spoke with sincerity. To reject sincere words is shameful. My people would see me as cold and heartless. Diane felt something strange in his chest. "So, acceptance?" Vala's eyes locked onto his. "Acceptance means I acknowledge your interest. It means I allow you to court me. It means we spend time together, learn about each other, and see if something real can grow between us. And if nothing grows, then we part with honor. No shame on either side." She tilted her head. "But if something does grow, if we find that we match well together, then—" She did not finish the sentence. She did not need to. Dayun's heart was beating very fast. "You would consider this a human? Someone small and soft and weak?" Vala stood up and walked toward him. She stopped right in front of his seat and looked down at him. "Size is not everything," she said, using the same words Ambassador Yuna had spoken yesterday. But on her lips, they meant something different. "I have fought many battles. I have led armies. I have conquered planets. None of that has given me what I truly want. What do you want?" She was quiet for a moment. When she spoke, her voice was softer than before. "Someone who sees me. Not the commander. Not the warrior. Not the symbol." She paused. "Just me." Do-hyun remembered his own words. The words he had just spoken to her. He had said almost the same thing. "We want the same thing," he said quietly. Vila nodded. "Perhaps we do." She stepped back and straightened her posture. The soft moment was over. She was the commander again. "I will accept your courtship," she said formally. "You will dine with me tonight. We will talk. We will see what we are to each other." Do-hyun stood up, his legs shaking slightly. "I would be honored." "Do not be honored yet. I am difficult. I have been told I am intimidating and cold. Many have tried to court me before. All have failed." She looked at him with those golden eyes. "What makes you think you will be different?" Do-hyun thought about this. He thought about all his weaknesses. His small size, his lack of fighting skill, his soft human body. But he also thought about his strengths, his honesty, his curiosity, his ability to understand and connect. "I do not know if I will be different," he said, "but I know I will be sincere. And among your people, that seems to matter." Vila studied him for a long moment. Do-hyun had never wanted to be a hero. He had never wanted to travel across the stars. He had never wanted to stand in a cold metal room surrounded by 7-foot-tall alien warriors who looked at him like he was something small and weak. But life had a funny way of putting people exactly where they did not want to be. He was a translator. That was all. He spoke 12 languages, and when the United Earth Council needed someone who could learn new ones fast, his name came up. 3 months later, he was aboard the Volanthi warship called the Iron Vow, trying very hard not to make eye contact with anyone. The Volanthi were a proud species. They stood tall with blue-gray skin and sharp features. Their bodies were built for battle, with strong muscles and quick reflexes. They wore armor at all times, heavy plates of dark metal that covered them from neck to toe. Do-hyun had never seen one without armor. He had heard that removing it in front of others was either a great honor or a great shame, depending on the situation. He did not understand their culture fully. That was why he was here. The humans and the Volanthi were trying to build an alliance, and someone needed to help them understand each other. Today was the first official meeting. Do-hyun stood at the edge of a circular room with metal walls. In the center was a raised platform, and on that platform stood the Volanthi commander. Her name was Vila. She was tall, even for her species. Her armor was darker than the others, marked with silver lines that showed her rank. Her face was sharp and beautiful in a dangerous way, with high cheekbones and eyes that glowed soft gold. Her hair was white, cut short, and it moved slightly whenever she turned her head. Do-hyun had seen her 3 times before this. Each time, he had felt his heart beat faster. He told himself it was fear. She was a warrior. She had killed enemies in battle. She commanded a ship full of soldiers who would die for her. But deep down, he knew it was not just fear. She was beautiful. Terrifying, yes. But beautiful. He pushed that thought away. It was not helpful. It was not professional. And it was definitely not something he should be thinking about right now. Vela raised her hand, and the room went silent. The other Volanthi warriors stood in a circle around the platform, their eyes forward. Dahin stood with the small group of humans near the entrance. There were only 4 of them. Ambassador Yuna, her assistant Taiho, a security officer named Jisoo, and Doyen. Yuna stepped forward and bowed her head slightly. She was good at this. She had studied the Volanthi customs and knew how to show respect without showing weakness. "Commander Vela," she said, "we are honored to be aboard your ship. The people of Earth hope that this meeting will be the first step toward friendship between our species." Vela looked at her for a long moment. Then she nodded once. "We shall see," she said. Her voice was deep and smooth, like water over stone. "Words are easy. Trust is hard." She stepped down from the platform and walked toward the humans. Her boots made heavy sounds on the metal floor. She stopped in front of Yuna, then looked past her at the others. Her eyes landed on Do-yoon. He felt his body freeze. Her gaze was intense, like she was looking straight through him. He wanted to look away, but he could not. "This one," she said. "He is the translator?" Yuna nodded. "Yes, Kim Do-yeon. He will help with communication during the negotiations." Vela tilted her head slightly. "He is small." Do-hyun felt his face get warm. He was not that small. He was average height for a human man. But compared to the Volanthi, yes, he was small. "Size is not everything," Yuna said carefully. Vela made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Among my people, it often is." She looked at Do-hyun again. "Can he fight?" "I can speak," Do-hyun said before he could stop himself. "That is why I am here." The room went very quiet. Speaking without being asked was probably not allowed. Do-hyun waited for someone to get angry, but Vela just smiled. It was a small smile, barely there, but it changed her face. She looked less like a statue and more like a person. "Good," she said. "I like honesty." She turned and walked back to the platform. "Tonight, we will perform the Truth Circle. It is a ritual of my people. Before any alliance can be made, both sides must prove they can be trusted. The ritual will show us if your words match your hearts." Yuna looked worried but hid it well. "We accept." "What does this ritual involve?" Vela spread her hands. "It is simple. You will stand in the circle with me. I will activate the field. And then you will speak your true thoughts. You cannot lie within the truth circle. The field makes it impossible." Do-hyun felt his stomach drop. A field that forced people to tell the truth? That sounded like a very bad idea. Humans have many thoughts they did not say out loud. That was normal. That was healthy. That was how society worked, but he could not say that. He was just a translator. Yuna nodded slowly. "We understand. We have nothing to hide." Vela's smile grew slightly. "We shall see." The hours before the ritual passed too quickly. Do-hyun tried to prepare himself. He told himself to think only calm, professional thoughts. He would focus on the job. He would think about vocabulary and grammar. He would not think about anything else. He especially would not think about Commander Vela. When evening came, the humans were brought back to the circular room. The Volanthi warriors were gone. Only Vela remained, standing in the center of the platform. The lights were lower now, and strange symbols glowed on the floor around her. "Step into the circle," she said. The 4 humans walked forward. They stood on the glowing symbols, one on each side of Vela. Do-hyun was directly in front of her. He could see every detail of her face, every line of her armor. "Do not think about it," he told himself. "Do not think about anything." Vela raised her hands. The symbols on the floor grew brighter. Do-hyun felt something strange wash over him, like warm water filling his mind. It did not hurt, but it felt odd. His thoughts became clearer, sharper, harder to control. The field is active, Bela said. Now, we speak truth. She looked at Yuna first. Why do your people want this alliance? Yuna answered immediately, her voice steady. We want peace. We want to learn from your people. We want protection from the enemies we cannot fight alone. Vila nodded. The answer must have been acceptable. She looked at Taiho. What do you think of my people? Taiho swallowed hard. I think you are frightening. But I also think you are honorable. I respect you. Another nod. She looked at Jisoo. Do you trust us? Jisoo paused. Not yet. But I am willing to try. Vila seemed pleased by this answer. Honest. Good. Then she turned to Do-hyun. His heart was beating so fast he could hear it in his ears. The warm feeling in his mind grew stronger. His thoughts were spinning. He tried to focus on languages, on grammar, on anything safe. Vela stepped closer to him. She was only an arm's length away now. He could smell her, something like metal and flowers. Her golden eyes locked onto his. Say what you are thinking, human, she said. Do-hyun opened his mouth to say something professional. Something about cultural exchange. Something about linguistic study. But the words that came out were not those words. Remove your armor, he said. The room went completely silent. Do-hyun felt his entire body turn cold, then hot. His face burned. He wanted to die. He wanted the floor to open up and swallow him. He wanted to wake up and discover this was all a terrible dream. But it was not a dream. It was real. And he had just told the commander of a Volanthi warship to take off her armor. Vila's eyes went wide. Her mouth opened slightly. For a moment, she did not move at all. Then her face changed color, going from blue-gray to something darker, almost purple. Behind him, Do-hyun heard Yuna make a small choking sound. Do-hyun started to say. I did not mean. But Vila raised her hand, and he stopped. She stared at him for a long, long moment. The symbols on the floor were still glowing. The truth field was still active. She knew he had not lied. She knew he had spoken his true thoughts, his true, terrible, inappropriate thoughts. You, she said slowly, are either very brave or very stupid. Do-hyun did not know which one he was. Maybe both. Vila took a step back. She looked at the other humans, then back at Do-hyun. Her expression was unreadable. The ritual is complete, she said. Her voice was strange. You may return to your quarters. The humans practically ran from the room. Yuna grabbed Do-hyun's arm and pulled him along. No one spoke until they were safely in the human section of the ship. Then Yuna turned to him, her face pale. Do you know what you just did? She whispered. Do-hyun shook his head. I could not control it. The field. Among the Volanthi, Yuna said. Asking someone to remove their armor is a marriage challenge. Or a death challenge. They are almost the same thing. Do-hyun felt all the blood leave his face. What? You just proposed to the commander of this ship. Or challenged her to kill you. I am not sure which. Yuna put her hand on her forehead. This mission is going to be very difficult. Do-hyun sat down on the nearest chair. His legs did not seem to work anymore. Thought he had come here to be a translator. To help with communication. To make things easier. Instead, he had accidentally proposed to a terrifying alien warrior princess. And somewhere deep in his foolish heart, a small voice whispered that he was not entirely sorry. He told that voice to be quiet. It did not listen. Then she smiled. It was a real smile this time, small but warm. You learn quickly, she said. Perhaps there is hope for you. Do-hyun had never been so nervous about a meal in his entire life. He stood in front of the small mirror in his room, trying to make himself look presentable. He had no fancy clothes. He had packed for a diplomatic mission, not for a date with an alien warrior commander. His options were limited to various shades of gray and blue uniforms. "You look fine," Taeho said from the doorway. He was trying not to laugh. Do-hyun could tell. "I look like I'm going to a funeral." "Maybe you are. Your own." Taeho finally let out the laugh. "I am joking. You will be fine. Just be yourself." "Myself is the problem. Myself got me into this situation." Taeho shook his head. "Myself spoke honestly when surrounded by truth magic. That is not a crime. That is just being human." He paused. "Besides, she seems to like you. Or at least she finds you interesting. Is there a difference? With the Volanthe? Probably not." A knock at the door made them both jump. The same silver-armored warrior from earlier stood in the hallway. "The commander is ready for you," he said. Do-hyun took a deep breath. He looked at Taeho one last time. "If I do not come back, tell Ambassador Yuna I am sorry for ruining everything." "You are not going to die," Taeho said. Probably. That was not as comforting as it should have been. Do-hyun followed the warrior through the ship. This time, they went a different way. They passed through areas he had not seen before. The walls here had decorations on them. Paintings of battles, sculptures of warriors, history of the Volanthe, frozen in metal and color. They stopped at a door larger than the others. It was carved with intricate patterns, and the metal seemed to glow from within. "The commander's private dining room," the warrior said. He pressed the panel, and the door opened. "She is waiting inside." Do-hyun walked in. The room was beautiful. Warm lights hung from the ceiling like captured stars. A long table sat in the center, covered with dishes he did not recognize. The window was larger here, showing a stunning view of space. Nebula clouds in purple and gold stretched across the darkness. Vela stood by the window, just as she had that afternoon. But something was different about her now. Her armor was lighter, not removed. Not gone, but lighter. Some of the heavier plates were missing. Her arms were bare from the elbow down, showing smooth blue-gray skin. Her shoulders were less covered. The severe lines of her battle gear had been softened. She had made herself vulnerable. Just a little. Do-hyun's heart did something strange in his chest. "You came," she said, turning to face him. "Did you think I would not?" "I thought you might be too afraid." She walked toward the table. "Most would be." "I am afraid," Do-hyun admitted again. "But I came anyway." Vela gestured for him to sit. He took a seat at the table, and she sat across from him. The food between them smelled strange but not unpleasant. Some dishes looked like meat. Others looked like vegetables, but in colors he had never seen before. "I had the kitchen prepare food safe for humans," Vela said. "I checked with your ambassador. She told me what your species can and cannot eat. That was thoughtful. I'm not always cruel." There was a hint of humor in her voice. Despite what some say, they began to eat. Do-hyun was careful, taking small bites and waiting to see how his body reacted. The food was good, rich and filling, with flavors that reminded him of home in unexpected ways. "You like it," Vela observed. "I do. Your chefs are talented. I will tell them. They will be pleased." She took a bite of something that looked like raw meat. Do-hyun tried not to stare. "Tell me about yourself, translator. I know nothing about you except that you speak many languages and have poor control of your thoughts." Do-hyun felt his face warm, but he laughed softly. "When you say it like that, I sound very pathetic." "Not pathetic. Just honest." Vela's eyes were curious. "Where do you come from? What was your life before this?" So Do-hyun told her. He told her about growing up in a small town on Earth, about discovering his talent for languages at a young age, about studying and working and always feeling like he did not quite fit in with other humans. He told her about lonely nights and books that became his friends. He told her about dreaming of the stars long before he ever touched a spaceship. Vela listened without interrupting. Her golden eyes never left his face. When he finished, she was quiet for a moment. "You were alone," she said finally. "Among your own people. You felt alone." Do-hyun nodded. "I had family. Friends, of a sort. But I always felt separate, like I was watching life through a window instead of living it. I understand this feeling." Vela set down her food. "I have commanded this ship for 15 cycles. My crew respects me. My officers obey me. But I do not have friends. I do not have equals. I have only duty. That sounds lonely." "It is." She said it simply, without self-pity. "Just truth. Among my people, commanders do not show weakness. We do not admit loneliness. We do not seek comfort." She paused. "But sometimes, late at night, when the ship is quiet, I stand by the window and wonder what it would be like to be seen. Truly seen." Do-hyun remembered her words from earlier. She wanted someone who saw her. Not the commander. Not the warrior. Just her. "I see you," he said quietly. "Or I am trying to." Vela looked at him. Something in her expression softened. "You are very strange human." "Do-hyun. My name is Do-hyun. Do-hyun." She said it carefully, like she was tasting each sound. "A strange name for a strange creature." "It means a path to good," he said. "My parents hoped I would live a good life. And have you?" Don thought about this. "I have lived a quiet life. A safe life. But I am not sure if quiet and safe are the same as good." Vela nodded slowly. "Among my people, a good life means glory in battle, honor in service, a worthy death." She looked down at her hands. "I have all of these things. I have glory and honor, and I will certainly die in battle someday. But I wonder sometimes if there is more. If a good life could mean something else. Like what?" She was silent for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. Connection, understanding, someone to share the silence with. Do-hyun felt his breath catch. She was not just talking about abstract ideas. She was talking about herself, about what she wanted, about the emptiness inside her that matched the emptiness inside him. They were more alike than he could have imagined. "I cannot offer you glory," he said slowly. "I cannot fight beside you in battle. I cannot give you any of the things your people value. Then what can you offer?" He looked at her across the table. This fierce, powerful, lonely creature who could kill him with one hand. "Honesty," he said. "Curiosity. A willingness to listen without judgment. And someone who sees you. Not your armor. Not your rank. Just you." Vela stared at him. The silence stretched between them. Then she did something that shocked him. She reached across the table and touched his hand. Her skin was cool and smooth. Different from human skin, but not unpleasant. Her fingers were long and strong. She held his hand gently, like he was something precious. "My people believe in signs," she said. "We believe the universe sends us messages if we are wise enough to see them. When you spoke those words in the truth circle, I was angry at first. I thought you were mocking me somehow, even though I knew the truth field would not allow lies. I was not mocking you. I know that now." She squeezed his hand slightly. "But then I thought about it more. I thought about what you said and what it meant. You wanted to see me without my armor, without my defenses. You wanted the thing that no one has ever wanted from me." "What do you mean?" "Others have courted me before. Warriors seeking glory through connection to my name. Politicians seeking power through alliance with my family. They wanted the commander. They wanted the symbol. Her eyes met his. But you, a small, soft human who cannot fight, who has no power, who wants nothing from me except to understand me. You wanted something real. Dayun's throat felt tight. I still do. Vila released his hand and stood up. She walked around the table until she was standing beside him. Then she did something he would never forget. She knelt down, the commander of a warship. A warrior who had conquered planets knelt on the floor beside his chair so that their faces were level. Among my people, she said, to kneel is to show respect. Not submission, respect. She looked into his eyes. You have earned my respect, Dayun. Not through strength or glory, through honesty, through seeing me. Dayun did not know what to say. His heart was beating so fast he thought she must be able to hear it. I do not know where this path will lead, Vela continued. I do not know if our peoples can truly understand each other. I do not know if you and I can build something real across the gulf between our species. She paused. But I want to try. So do I. Dayun whispered. Vila stood up. She looked down at him with an expression he could not quite read. Then she smiled. Good, she said. Then we will continue. Tomorrow, I will show you my ship. Not as a commander giving a tour, but as someone sharing their home. I will show you the parts of my life I do not show others. I would like that. And you will tell me more about your world. Your home. The life you left behind. She tilted her head. We will learn each other, Dayun. Slowly, carefully, but truly. She walked back to the window and looked out at the stars. For now, finish your meal. Then return to your quarters and rest. She glanced back at him. You will need your strength for tomorrow. Don't you? The days that followed were unlike anything Dayun had ever experienced. Vela kept her promise. She showed him her ship, not as a commander but as someone sharing their world. She took him to the engine room, where massive machines hummed with power. She showed him the observation deck, where the stars seemed close enough to touch. She brought him to the training hall, where her warriors practiced combat in graceful, deadly movements. Everywhere they went, the crew watched them. Some looked curious. Some looked confused. A few looked almost angry, their eyes following Dayun with obvious distrust. They do not understand, Vela said one afternoon, as they walked through a garden in the center of the ship. Real plants grew here, fed by artificial light. Flowers in blues and purples bloomed among tall grass. It was peaceful, a hidden pocket of beauty in the metal warship. They think I have lost my mind, she continued, taking a human as a courtship interest. A creature who cannot fight, who cannot serve in battle, who offers nothing of military value. Do you care what they think? Vela considered this. I care about their respect. A commander who loses respect loses control of her ship. She paused by a flowering bush and touched one of the petals gently. But I am also tired of living only for their approval. I have done everything expected of me for my entire life. Perhaps it is time to do something for myself. Dayun watched her face as she looked at the flower. She seemed softer here, in this quiet garden. Less like a warrior and more like a woman. Why did you create this place? He asked. This garden? Vela smiled slightly. It was my mother's idea. She was the commander before me. She said that warriors need beauty as much as they need weapons. That a soul fed only on battle becomes hollow. She sounds wise. She was. She died in combat 7 cycles ago, leading a charge against enemies who outnumbered us 3-1. Vela's voice was steady, but Dayun could hear the pain beneath it. She won the battle, but she did not survive it. I am sorry. Do not be. She died with glory. It was the death she wanted. Vila turned to face him. Among my people, death is not tragedy. It is completion. The end of one story and the beginning of another. Dahim thought about this. Human ideas about death were so different. Fear, loss, grief, the desperate need to survive at any cost. My people fear death, he admitted. We fight against it with medicine and technology. We see it as an enemy to be defeated. How exhausting, Vala said, but not unkindly. To spend your whole life running from something that will catch you eventually. Perhaps. But it also makes life precious. Every moment matters, because we know there are only so many. Vila was quiet for a moment. Then she reached out and touched his face. Her cool fingers traced his cheek, his jaw, the corner of his mouth. You are very small, she said softly. Your life is very short compared to mine. 100 cycles at most, yes? About that, yes. I will live for 300, perhaps 400 if I am not killed in battle. Her golden eyes searched his face. Does that not frighten you? That I will go on long after you are gone. Do-hyun considered the question carefully. It makes me sad, perhaps. The thought of you alone after I die. But it does not frighten me. What frightens me is wasting the time I have. Living without meaning. Dying without having truly connected with anyone. Vila's hand dropped from his face. She looked at him with an expression he had not seen before. Something raw and vulnerable. You are very brave, she said. In a way my people do not understand. We face death in battle and call it courage. But you face the emptiness of life and call it the same thing. Perhaps your courage is greater than ours. She turned and began walking again, deeper into the garden. Do-hyun followed. They came to a small clearing where a stone bench sat beneath a tree with silver leaves. Vala sat down and patted the space beside her. Do-hyun sat, very aware of how close she was. Tell me something true, she said. Something you have never told anyone. Do-hyun thought for a long moment. There were many secrets he kept. Many fears he never spoke. But one stood out above the others. I have always been afraid that I am impossible to love, he said quietly. That there is something broken in me. Something that makes connection impossible. I watch other humans find partners, build families, create lives together. And I wonder why I cannot do the same. Why every attempt I make ends in failure. Vila listened without interrupting. I thought it was my fault, Do-hyun continued. That I was too quiet. Too strange. Too focused on languages instead of people. I tried to change. To be more normal. But it never worked. So I stopped trying. I told myself that I was meant to be alone. That translation was my purpose, and that would have to be enough. He fell silent. He had never said these things out loud before. The words hung in the air between them. Vala was quiet for a long moment. Then she spoke. I understand. Do-hyun looked at her. I have had many suitors, she said. Warriors who wanted glory. Politicians who wanted power. None of them wanted me. They wanted what I represented. And I could never give them what they truly needed because I could never let them close enough to see the real me. She paused. I told myself I was too strong for love. Too fierce. Too dedicated to duty. But the truth is, I was afraid. Afraid that if I removed my armor, if I let someone truly see me, they would find me lacking. You? Lacking? Do-hyun could not hide his surprise. You are a commander. A conqueror. Everyone on this ship would die for you. They would die for my title. For my name. For my armor. Vala's voice was bitter. Not for me. She turned to face him fully. But you do not care about any of that. You cannot even lift a sword. You have no use for my conquests or my glory. When you look at me, you see something else. What do I see? I do not know. That is what frightens me. She reached out and took his hand again. No one has ever looked at me the way you do. Like I'm a puzzle you want to solve. Like I'm a story you want to read. It makes me feel exposed. Is that bad? I do not know. I've never felt it before. She squeezed his hand. Among my people, we are taught to hide our weaknesses, to never show vulnerability, to be like the armor we wear, strong, cold, impenetrable. She paused. But you make me want to be something else. Something softer. Diane's heart was pounding. I make you feel that way? Yes. Vela looked at him with those golden eyes. I do not know what this feeling is. It is not like anything in my experience. But I know that when I am with you, the loneliness is less. The silence is less empty. I feel like I can breathe in a way I have not breathed in a long time. Dahyun understood exactly what she meant because he felt the same way. My people have a word for this feeling, he said. We call it love. Vela's eyes widened slightly. Love. I have heard this word. It means affection, yes? Attachment? It means more than that. It means seeing someone fully, knowing all their flaws and fears, and choosing them anyway. It means building a home in another person. It means facing the universe together instead of alone. Vela was very still. That sounds terrifying. It is. It is the most terrifying thing there is. Dahyun smiled slightly. But it is also the most beautiful. When it works. When both people choose each other. Have you loved before? I have tried. It never worked. He looked at her hand, still holding his. But I have never felt like this. With anyone. What I feel for you is different. Stronger. More real. You feel love for me? The question hung in the air. Dahyun knew this was a moment that could not be taken back. Whatever he said next would change everything. He thought about lying. About protecting himself. About staying safe. Then he remembered the truth circle. He remembered that honesty had brought him here. That honesty had connected them. Yes, he said. I think I do. Vela did not speak. For a long moment, she just looked at him. Her expression was unreadable. Then she stood up. Dahyun's heart sank. Had he gone too far? Had he ruined everything? But Vela did not walk away. Instead, she reached up to her shoulder and touched a hidden clasp. A piece of her armor fell away. She touched another clasp. Another piece fell. Dahyun watched in shock as Vela removed her armor piece by piece. The heavy chest plate. The shoulder guards. The arm covers. Each piece hit the grass with a soft thud. When she was done, she stood before him in only a simple undergarment. A thin fabric that covered her body but hid nothing. He could see the muscles beneath her skin. The scars from old battles. The body of a warrior, strong and beautiful and completely exposed. She was shaking. I have never done this, she said. Her voice was barely a whisper. Shown myself to anyone. Not since I became commander. Not since my mother died. Dahyun stood up. He walked toward her slowly, carefully, like approaching a wild animal. You are beautiful, he said. Vela's eyes filled with something that might have been tears. Though he did not know if her people could cry. I am afraid, she admitted. So am I. He reached out and touched her arm, where a long scar ran from elbow to shoulder. But I am here, and I am not going anywhere. Vela looked at him. The fearsome commander, the mighty warrior, standing vulnerable in a garden, trembling before a small, soft human who could not fight, and she smiled. It was the most beautiful thing Dahyun had ever seen. Love, she said softly, as if testing the word. Perhaps I will learn what that means. We will learn together, Dahyun promised. And standing there, Surrounded by alien flowers under artificial light, they held each other for the first time. It was the beginning of something neither of them had expected, something neither of Ted knew spread through the ship like fire. Commander, Vala and the human translator. Together. Not just a courtship for show, but something real, something unprecedented. The crew did not know what to make of it. Some were angry. They saw it as weakness. Their fierce commander brought low by a creature who could not even lift a weapon. They whispered in corners and glared at Do-hyun when he walked by. Some were curious. They had never seen their commander smile before. They had never heard her laugh. They watched her now, this new version of Vila, and wondered if perhaps there was more to life than war. Some were inspired. Young warriors who had never questioned the old ways began to ask questions. Could strength mean something other than combat? Could connection exist between species so different? Could love cross the boundaries of biology and culture? Do-hyun felt the weight of all these eyes on him every day. He was no longer just a translator. He was a symbol. Proof that humans and Valanthi could find common ground. Or proof that trying was foolish. It depended on who you asked. Ambassador Yuna was cautiously optimistic. This could help our alliance, she said one morning, as the human delegation gathered for a meeting. The crew sees their commander happy. They see her choosing a human. It normalizes us in a way no treaty could. Or it could make things worse, Jisoo said. The security officer had never been comfortable on this ship. If this relationship fails, we could lose everything. It will not fail, Do-hyun said quietly. The others looked at him. You seem very certain, Yuna observed. I am, he met her eyes. I know this is strange. I know I am the last person who should be in this situation. But what I have with Vila is real. I will not let it fail. Yuna studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded. Good, because the High Council of the Valanthi wants to meet you. Do-hyun's stomach dropped. The High Council? News of your courtship has reached them. They want to see the human who captured their greatest commander. Yuna's expression was careful. This is either very good or very bad. I am not sure which. The meeting with the High Council was scheduled for 5 days later. 5 days for Do-hyun to prepare. 5 days for his fear to grow and shrink and grow again. Vela tried to calm him. The council is harsh but fair, she said one evening, as they sat together in her quarters. She had begun wearing less armor around him, a sign of trust that was not lost on her crew. Tonight she wore only light plates over her chest and shoulders. Her arms and legs were bare. They will test you, she continued. They will question your strength, your worth, your value to our people. But they will also listen. If you speak honestly, as you did with me, they may accept you. And if they do not accept me, Vela was quiet for a moment. Then I will have to make a choice. Between me and your people. Yes, she looked at him steadily. And I already know what I will choose. Do-hyun shook his head. I will not let you give up everything for me. Your position, your honor, your life's purpose. I will not be the reason you lose all that. Then do not fail. Vila smiled slightly. Convince them. Show them what I see in you. What do you see in me? She reached out and touched his chest, right over his heart. Fire, she said. Hidden fire. You do not fight with weapons, but you fight. Against loneliness. Against fear. Against a universe that tells you that you are small and meaningless. Her golden eyes gleamed. My people respect warriors. But we also respect those who refuse to surrender. And you, Do-hyun, you have never surrendered. That is your strength. The day of the meeting arrived. The High Council gathered in a massive hall on the Valanthi homeworld. The Iron Vow had traveled there at top speed, a journey of 3 days through hyperspace. Do-hyun had spent those days preparing, rehearsing, trying to anticipate every possible question. Nothing could have prepared him for the reality. The hall was enormous, carved from black stone that seemed to absorb light. 12 figures sat on raised platforms arranged in a semicircle. The council members, ancient and powerful, their armor scarred from countless battles. Their eyes were cold, and measuring Vila stood beside Do-Yoon at the center of the hall. She wore her full armor today, the heavy ceremonial version that showed her rank. She looked like a goddess of war, untouchable, unreachable. But her hand, hidden from the council's view, was touching his. Commander Vela, the central council member, spoke. Her voice echoed through the hall. You have brought a human before us, a creature of a lesser species. And you claim this creature as your courtship choice. I do. This is unprecedented. Many question your judgment. Some question your sanity. The elder's eyes moved to Do-Yoon. What say you, human? Why should we accept you among our people? Do-Yoon took a deep breath. He thought about everything Vila had told him. About honesty. About courage. About hidden fire. I am small, he began. His voice was steady. I am weak by your standards. I cannot fight. I cannot conquer. I offer nothing of military value. The council members exchanged glances. This was not what they expected. But I have something else to offer, Do-Yoon continued. Understanding. The ability to see beyond differences. To find common ground where others see only walls. He looked around the hall, meeting each council member's eyes in turn. My species is young. We have not conquered the stars as you have. We have not built empires or won great wars. But we have survived. We have learned. We have grown. He stepped forward slightly. Among my people, there is a story. Long ago, humans lived in small groups, fighting each other for resources. We were weak and scattered and easily killed by the dangers of our world. But we did something no other species on our planet did. We worked together. We formed communities. We shared knowledge and protected each other. We built civilization not through strength alone, but through connection. The council was silent, listening. That is what I offer. Not the strength of a warrior, but the strength of connection. The ability to build bridges between people, between species. He looked at Vela, between hearts. He turned back to the council. I love your commander, not because of her power or her glory, not because she conquered planets or led armies. I love her because she showed me her true self, hidden beneath the armor. I love her because she is lonely, as I was lonely. Because she is afraid, as I was afraid. Because she wants what all beings want. To be seen, to be known, to be chosen. His voice grew stronger. I cannot promise to fight beside her in battle, but I can promise to stand beside her in everything else. To be her home when she returns from war. To be her comfort when the weight of command is too heavy. To be her partner in every way I can be. He looked at the central council member directly. I know I am small. I know I am weak. But I have something your mightiest warriors do not have. I have her heart. And I will protect it with everything I am. The hall was completely silent. Vela's hand, still hidden, squeezed his tightly. The council members spoke quietly among themselves. Do-Hyun could not hear what they said. He could only wait, his heart pounding in his chest. Finally, the central elder raised her hand. The whisper stopped. You speak well, human. Better than we expected. Her ancient eyes studied him. But words are easy. Actions are hard. What proof do you offer of your sincerity? Before Do-Hyun could answer, Vela stepped forward. I offer proof, she said. The council's attention shifted to her. Vela reached up to the clasps of her ceremonial armor. One by one, she undid them. The heavy plates began to fall away. The council members gasped. Some rose from their seats. Removing armor before the council was unprecedented. It was vulnerability at the highest level. It was trust made visible. Piece by piece, Vala's armor fell to the black stone floor. The sound echoed through the hall like thunder. When she was done, she stood bare before the 12 most powerful Volanthi in existence. Scars and muscle and blue-gray skin exposed for all to see. "This is my proof," she said. Her voice did not waver. "I remove my armor willingly. Not in shame. Not in defeat. But in trust." She looked at Doyen. "He has seen me. The real me. And he did not turn away. He chose me anyway. As I choose him," she turned to the council. "If you reject him, you reject me. If you banish him, I go with him. He is my choice. My courtship. My partner." Her chin rose. "My love." The word hung in the air. A human word, spoken by a Volanthi commander. A concept foreign to their culture. Now claimed as her own. The council was silent for a very long time. Then the central elder did something unexpected. She laughed. It was a deep, rumbling sound that filled the hall. Not mocking. Not cruel. Something else entirely. "I have lived for 500 cycles," she said. "I have seen empires rise and fall. I have watched commanders greater than you make choices that destroyed them." She shook her head slowly. "But I have never seen anything like this." She stood from her seat and descended from her platform. Step by step, she walked toward Vala and Doyen until she stood before them. "You shame us," she said quietly. "Both of you. With your courage. With your honesty. With this love that you speak of." She looked at Doyen. "I called your species lesser. But perhaps I was wrong. Perhaps there is more to strength than we understood." She turned to address the full council. "I vote to accept the human. Not because he is worthy by our old measures, but because he has shown us a new measure. A new way to see strength." She looked back at Doyen. "You have taught us.